Hello everyone, welcome back my channel Future X USA. Crimea is teetering on the edge of catastrophe. This time, Ukraine has set its sights on every Russian asset on the peninsula, and right at the center of that target stands the Kerch Bridge. On the morning of August 30th, Ukraine launched a decisive strike that signaled a new phase in the war. Three massive 7-ton cruise missiles, each carrying a 1150 kg warhead, soared from the coastline, following precise, planned corridors. Minutes later, explosions shook the northern part of Crimea, a clear warning of Ukraine's growing capability. But this was only the beginning. Swarms of drones probed the air defense gaps, testing the limits of Russian radar in response. By midday, reports confirmed a crisis at the Semipol air base and the blinding of 400 radar systems. Ukrainian sources reported targeted hits on an FSB border post and a nearby patrol boat facility, confirmed by local eyewitnesses and satellite imagery. Video footage captured the sequential missile launches, demonstrating meticulous planning and the precision of the attacks. Later that same morning, drone activity intensified near Simferopol Airport. Surveillance platforms quickly shared images of fires breaking out at key military positions. By the end of the day, 2 Russian helicopters, the Mi-8 and Mi-24, were destroyed, marking a significant blow to Crimea's aerial defenses. The cycle continued. 400 radars were disabled, critical communication systems knocked offline, and coastal monitoring installations were hit. This wasn't random chaos. The air defense, command control, and navigation triad of Crimea was deliberately targeted. The message was unmistakable. Ukraine has the capability, and Kerch Bridge should be ready. Behind this strategic message lies the Flamingo missile, Ukraine's domestically produced long-range cruise weapon. With a 3,000-kilometer range, 1150 kg warhead, and mobile launch capability, it transforms the calculus of Crimea's defense. The strike on the FSB base was merely the first act. The real pressure is now on Kirch. Until now, Crimea's air defenses faced only sporadic or limited threats. The introduction of Flamingo changes everything. It brings sustained, multi-axis, and heavy pressure capable of bypassing conventional defense mechanisms. Its domestic nature allows Ukraine to deploy without waiting for external permission, producing as many missiles as needed. President Zelensky has already reported 210 units produced, and even a few can wreak havoc on Crimea's infrastructure. The FSB base attack was strategic theater. Helicopters burned, radars went silent, and communication networks faltered. These weren't isolated incidents. They were coordinated openings, temporary blind spots allowing long-range missiles to exploit the gaps. The statement was clear. Ukraine can strike, and it will continue to strike. This is the beginning of a regime of persistent pressure. Flamingo is a domestic cruise platform with remarkable precision. It hugs the terrain at low altitudes, minimizing radar detection. Its heavy warhead ensures targets are not limited to depots or light infrastructure. Even bridges, command centers, and critical supply nodes can be heavily impacted. A single strike may not destroy the Kerch Bridge outright, but repeated, well-planned attacks could render it inoperable for days or weeks, disrupting Russian logistics and forcing constant repair efforts. The Kerch Bridge has long been a symbolic and operational lifeline, connecting the Azov basin to the Russian mainland. Past attacks, often from naval or underwater methods, caused temporary damage, but Flamingo adds a new dimension, a long-range land-based mobile multi-axis threat. The bridge can no longer be protected as a single point of defense. It must now face persistent scrutiny, continuous monitoring, and repeated threats, draining resources and attention from other critical locations. Maintaining a steady pace in operations requires balancing supplies, personnel, and equipment. Kerch acts as the gasket of this balance. Any disruption, whether from a single Flamingo missile or repeated attacks, ripples across the system, forcing adjustments that cost time, money, and operational efficiency. The goal is not outright destruction, but disruption, reducing decision quality, slowing logistics, and increasing the margin of error. Persistent pressure transforms Kirch from a symbol to a weak link. Each missile strike forces Russia to reconsider its allocation of resources, defensive posture, and risk management. Every attack leaves a mark: burned facilities, destroyed helicopters, and disabled radars. These tangible effects, combined with strategic ambiguity, ensure the bridge is tested repeatedly, maintaining Ukraine's advantage. International considerations also come into play. A bridge of this symbolic and operational significance cannot be ignored politically. The West watches and the Kremlin must weigh the cost of reinforcement against potential escalation. Yet Ukraine's domestic production of Flamingo missiles ensures a steady tempo of operations, independent of foreign approvals or constraints. This autonomy allows for persistent, predictable pressure, gradually shifting the strategic calculus. In conclusion, the recent events in Crimea mark the beginning of a new era in the conflict. The FSB facility burning, helicopters destroyed, and radar systems disabled are only the first signs. The real test lies ahead at Kirch. Flamingo, with its 3,000 km range, heavy warhead, and mobile launch system, transforms this bridge from a symbol into a high-value operational target under constant pressure. Russian defenses have not collapsed. They have been breached. Even temporary closures or damage force repeated expenditures, strain personnel, and disrupt logistics, creating cumulative effects far beyond a single strike. Tempo is now the decisive factor. Short decision windows, rapid response requirements, and constant vigilance define the battlefield. The side that can impose tempo dictates the agenda. In Crimea, that side is Ukraine. Kirch sits at the center of this new operational reality under repeated sustainable pressure. The first message has been sent, the curtain is rising, and the stage is set for a long, relentless test. Can Ukraine target Crimea and Kirch effectively? The answer is yes. Range, payload, mobility, and fatigue in Russian defenses make persistent strikes both feasible and impactful. Kirch is no longer untouchable. Each Flamingo missile fired is a statement, a test, and a disruption. The regime of pressure has begun in Crimea, especially Kirch Bridge will feel the impact for days, weeks, and possibly months to come. Thank you for watching.